sir, you had your hand up next.
Yeah, Mike. With the billions of dollars in the stimulus package and billions of dollars that's been written before, it's run into the trillions of dollars now, and the Chinese government buys a lot of our debt, and they're worried about it now. What's going to happen to this country if they stop buying the debt, and how are we going to pay off this big debt?
Well, it's, you know, I'm a blue dog Democrat. I just want to see a show of hands. Any of you know what a blue dog Democrat is?
No, explain.
You do? All right. A blue dog are the conservative to moderate Democrats. And there are 65 of us, and I'm one of them. There's a couple of things about it. One is, I think, I like it for two reasons. One is our mantra is fiscal responsibility, a balanced budget. We fight, in fact, when we went to see the president, our thing was, look, we understand that now is not the year to balance the budget, but we need a plan on how to balance the budget. Because how are we going to pay, you know, China back? I mean, there's going to be a time when China's going to say, you know, especially if their economy tightens up, we can't lend any more money. We can't do it anymore. And then what's going to? And I think we're closer to that point than frightening most people realize. So I think that's one thing. Second thing that I think that I like that the Blue Dogs do is the Blue Dogs keep the party moderate. I think we get, as a country, regardless of where you are, we get into problems when we get on the fringes, whether it's on the right or on the left. We need to govern from the middle. Gil Troy, who wrote a book called Leading from the Middle, calls muscular moderation. Being in the middle, being strong, and as he said, Ronald Reagan governed from a muscular moderation from the middle. That's where we need to be, and that's why I follow Blue Dog. But to get to your point, we need to have a balanced budget. Our children, we used to say our children are going to pay this debt back. Now it's our grandchildren that are going to pay this debt back. What's that?
It could be beyond.
It could be beyond that. I mean, the debt is, I think, $35,000 per American that's owed out there. So it is a significant amount of money. It is a huge concern to all of us. It really troubles me, especially because of the fact that, you know, we've been doing, as I said earlier, we've been doing it for years in foreign countries, you know. I mean, and now we have to really tighten our belt when we need to be doing it here at home. We can't live beyond our means. You know, there are some people that say it's okay to deficit finance the government to some extent, but I think we've gone well beyond that to some extent. I think we're far beyond that. We have surplus. You know, 8 years ago, we didn't even do anything with the surplus. We didn't fix Social Security. We didn't fix our education system. You know, we didn't really do anything substantive with it. We can't let that happen. Yes, sir.
With respect to the banking system, I had a question about Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I saw an article, and I questioned this, and it suggested that banks had not been paying any premiums from '96 to 2006. And
their FDIC insurance?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it suggested that FDIC is now looking to borrow a lot of money from the federal government. Well, can you comment on the health of that right now?
Well, you know, here, this is going to have to give sort of a big answer, so forgive me to work it down to where you want to be. First off, you know, the housing bill that I said I voted against troubled me for only one reason. Coupled with that, what they did is they linked in there the FDIC provision that increases the FDIC from $100,000 to $250,000, which frankly most all bankers said is a good idea, despite the fact their insurance premium was going to go up. They weren't happy about the fact that their insurance premium was going to go up, and some bankers are very, very nervous about the fact that their insurance premium is going up because they're afraid that the FDIC is backloading a lot of money in case, you know, something else happens. So I have a real concern about that. But I have not heard, in fact, the only complaint I hear from community banks is that their FDIC premiums continue to go up. So I have not heard that they were not paying premiums for a period of time, nor that the FDIC was borrowing money from Federal Reserve. Now, the only thing is that in order to up the premium to $250,000, there's going to be a shortfall in that over the short term. Because what's going to happen is now all of a sudden the FDIC has to guarantee loans up to $250,000. They don't have enough money to do that in the short term. Okay? They will have enough in the long term. After 10 years, they will have enough money because the premiums will catch up and they'll have enough money. So in the short term, they will not have enough money. So in that regard, that was one of the things that was a deficit. That was one of the things that was difficult for many of us also as Blue Dogs. There was no pay for in that. So in other words, we had to borrow money in order to fund the FDIC so that they could increase the insurance to $250,000 until they had enough money in 10 years to pay for it themselves. Do you follow what I'm saying?
do. It just strikes me that there must, obviously, there's a deficit if they're increasing the premiums, which is burdening the banks. And we're probably going to have, I think there were 17 banks that failed this year, probably more we can imagine. I was just curious whether that's a concern or not. This article suggested, when I read it, I couldn't believe what I was reading, frankly. It just struck me.
I talk to bankers a lot, and I hear a lot of concerns. You know, I think there's a lot of conspiracy concerns about why is the FDIC doing this. I mean, obviously, everyone likes the fact that they're increasing, you know, the insurance from $100,000 to $250,000 if you have those kind of assets, and the bankers like it. But there is this concern of, are they doing it for some other reason? You know, what else is going on? So I don't know the inside track on that. I don't think anybody does. There is a lot of speculation, and I know they write about that. Let me use that as a segue into something that, you know, one of the things that the stimulus bill ended up doing, the largest component of it, is that it's the largest tax cut in American history, actually. One of the things that we do with it is we increase tax, what they call production tax credit for solar, for developing alternative energy for 5 years. We did it for wind energy as well. We extended it for 3 years, which helps companies, you know, move forward because they don't mind as much investing in it, because, for instance, in wind strategy, because they're going to get a production tax credit. One of the things that I've been pushing very, very hard for is getting a tax credit for, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Utica boilers in Utica, but they have just created a generator, a boiler that makes heat for your, and this is on the market, so you could buy this. It heats your home, and at the same time, it has an engine that they're worked with Honda on it that produces electricity. So while you're heating your home, you're getting electricity for free for your home. So what we're trying to do, and that's perfect. I mean, that is absolutely just the kind of cogeneration. So we are working very, very hard in order to get a tax credit for that, so it makes it a little more affordable to buy it. Because here's the thing I always say, not only is that a great strategy for the country, it's a great strategy for us because we have local people working, but think about if we can get people in New York City with those, they won't have to come and take our power from upstate New York, and we won't have to run any power lines through it. They can generate their own power at home. And in the future, what they talk about is, as this gets successful, and they do this in Japan now, you hook it up to the grid. You're all hooked up to the grid, and through the internet, you actually get, when there is a shortage of energy, your boiler goes on, and you get a credit for it into the future, and it produces energy into the grid. So it really is an incredible strategy. We're trying real, real hard to get tax credits, and I'm hopeful we can do that in the not too distant future.
What would something like that cost?
I don't want to tell you how much it is, but you know, obviously, like so many things, we anticipate it'll come down. But that's one of the reasons we want to get tax credits for it. So it helps to make it more affordable to buy it, you know, to start with.